Penn along with Dave Rowe, and happy holidays to you and yours from all of us at Raycom Sports. This game tonight showcases two luminaries, Joe Paterno of Penn State, Bobby Bowden of Florida State, each with over 200 career wins, and that in itself gives this first-year bowl instant credibility. And Dave, another intriguing factor has to be their contrasting styles.
Well, it really is a contrast of styles, Tim. When you think of Penn State, you think of linebackers, big linemen, grinded out style of football. When you think of Florida State and you watch them, it's wide open. It's a lot like the San Francisco 49ers. They love bringing those backs out of the backfield one-on-one with those linebackers.
Let's focus in then on that Penn State offense, and let's start with the quarterback, Tony Sacca.
Oh boy, Tony Sacca really matured in that Notre Dame game. He was 20 of 34 in that game, 277 yards, 3 touchdowns. It's really important that he gains his confidence early. Look what he's done in the last 3 games.
You know, defensively, Penn State has always run a very simple scheme, fundamentally sound, but it is tough.
Oh, it is tough, and they have a great tradition there. It's a tradition of linebackers, and Mark Dinofrio continues that tradition. He led his team in tackles. Important, though, tonight is that he's a very intense player, and he sets the tone on defense.
Florida State with a 9-2 record. Let's take you across the field now and talk about the Seminoles, and let's start with our All-American wideout, Lawrence Dawson.
Oh, boy, when you talk about a perfect football player, Lawrence Dawson is that. 65 catches, 1,000 yards. Everybody remembers this one against Florida. And out and up for 76 yards, the second play of the game. And Florida State stung Florida with that play. There's his career, 129 receptions. What a football player.
Now, defensively, the guy I really like is just a youngster, Marvin Jones, the linebacker.
Boy. When you talk about a football player, this guy is unbelievable. He's just a freshman linebacker. He led his team 133 tackles. Bobby Bowden said he might not only be the best freshman linebacker, he might be the best linebacker in the nation. He's only 17 years old.
All right. And here come the Nittany Lions of Penn State. A record of 9-2, coming off big wins over then top-ranked Notre Dame and Pitt. The Nittany Lions have the nation's longest winning streak. You look at the coaches, only the late Bear Bryant won more bowl games than Joe Paterno. The Bear had 15. But with a 9-3-1 postseason record, Bobby Bowden is second to none in winning percentage. That's impressive. Nearly 75,000 fans expected here at Joe Robbie Stadium.
And Tim, you wait, you hear the thunder when they enter this football field. They're getting ready now.
And here come the Seminoles of FSU. Also with a record of 9-2, coming off a huge win in state rival Florida. Florida State has won 5 in a row. We had a little bit of rain a couple hours ago here at Joe Robbie Stadium, but right now it is pleasant, 70 degrees, 30% chance of showers a little bit later on. That's a lot better than what's taking place up in Pennsylvania and across most of the nation. Just about ready for kickoff, and Dave Rowe, what are the Lincoln Mercury team busts for Penn State?
Well, first of all, for Penn State, they have got to control the blitz, especially Anthony Moss on the outside. They've got to wrap up the receivers quickly. When they catch the ball, they can't allow them to break, and they really need outstanding special teams tonight. Joe Paterno thinks that the kicking game could really be the part of the game that wins it for them.
All right, how about the Lincoln Mercury bust for Florida State?
Well, for Florida State, it's a little bit different. They have to get started quickly. They are a team that scored 250 points in the first half of their ball games this year. They need to use that big play offense. You saw Lawrence Dawson on that 76-yard pass, the second one in the game, and win the battle of the trenches. That's where the battle is going to be won, up front. Those front 7 of Florida State taking on those front linemen of Penn State.
Bobby Bowden gone to 9 straight bowls, and they've been unbeaten in all of them. Quite a record. We'll get an idea of what happens on special teams right away. Craig Fayak of Penn State prepares to kick off, and he'll be kicking deep to Shannon Baker and Eric Terrell. This was seasoned as strongly as anybody in the nation. And we're underway. Baker at the 5. Baker needs help, doesn't get it, and carries it out to the 17-yard line. And that's where the Seminoles will start after a return of 13 yards. Starting quarterback is Casey Weldon, 5-0 as a starter, third in the nation in passing efficiency. Behind Tyne Detmer and Sean Moore of Virginia. He's a gambler with a strong arm and great escapability. First down, the ball officially at the 17. Quick run straight ahead. Lee gets a couple, not much there. Stopped by Dinofrio and Jim Dieter. Here are the offensive starters for Florida State, brought to you by Blockbuster Video. Camp Lee, the ball carrier there. Edgar Bennett, who has 35 receptions, second best on the team. So you'll see him come out of the backfield a lot. Phillips, Fryer, and Dawsey, the wideouts. Fryer starts for Baker, who's had back spasms. Up front, Stevenson, Haynes, Baker, Morris, and Mancini. Mancini's played most of his season with a bad ankle. Second down, call it 6. Play action. Weldon to throw. Has a man wide open. It's Johnson out to midfield. A gain of 30 for Florida State.
Then when you think of a tight end coming downfield, you don't think of them getting 15 to 18 yards downfield. Johnson just runs in the seam. Nobody even near him. You can see Penn State had to quickly recover, but great pickup there by Weldon to see Johnson wide open.
Finally stopped by Willie Thomas. They mark the ball just inside the midfield stripe in Seminole territory. First down. Again, it's Lee. Quick feet into Penn State territory at the 45. Stopped by Derek Bona. Defensively, Giannetti, Dieter, and Benfatti up front for Penn State. McKenzie, Dinofrio, Goganis, and Givens, the linebackers, they're active. The two inside guys have really grown this season. Bona gets the start tonight in front of Fusetti. Humphreys, Thomas, and Perry. Perry with 7 interceptions leads that part of the defense. Humphreys has 6. It'll be second down and 4. And Weldon's in trouble. Gets to the corner and makes a sizable gain out of trouble. We told you he has great escapability. Finally taken down by Leonard Humphreys.
Boy, when you allowed a quarterback to run out of the pocket like that, it puts so much pressure on the defense. The corners don't know whether to leave their coverage and come up or try to stop. You just cannot lose containment on a scrambling quarterback.
Final game of the regular season. Casey Weldon passed for 325 yards and 2 touchdowns and beat Florida 45-30. Only 2 losses came mid-season to Miami and the following week against Auburn, and it was in the Auburn game that Casey Weldon took over for Brad Johnson. Third down 2, and the ball is dropped in the flat. And you won't see that very often from Lawrence Dawsey.
That's exactly what I was going to say. You don't see that often from Lawrence Dawsey to miss one right in his hands. The respect the Penn State defensive player has on him. He's back. You don't even see him in the picture. Look at that. You don't see that ever by Lawrence Dawsey.
So Richie Andrews comes on to attempt a 41-yard field goal. He's 13 of 18 this year. His longest 47, and this one splits the sticks. So with 10:47 remaining first period, Florida State's on the board first. It's the Seminoles 3, Penn State nothing. It's 3-0 Florida State on a rather methodical drive, and a 41-yard field goal has put the Seminoles on top. So Richie Andrews now prepares to kick off for Florida State. And he'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds. Brown averages 43 yards a return, Hammonds 25. Of course, Brown's statistics were padded somewhat by the 95-yard return against Texas. A high end-over-end kick that will take Hammonds about 3 yards deep. He'll stick it down in the ground right there. That's it. Tony Sacca, he started 26 games now, so he's experienced, and he's matured a great deal this year. He's become a leader and now a take-charge guy. Does have 9 interceptions on the year, 10 touchdowns, and only 49% completion rate. But he's been getting better and better as the season has worn on. First down, Penn State, the ball at the 20. Sacca, play action. Throws, has a man wide open, and he can't hold on. Pass was a little bit low, but looked catchable for Daniels. Here are the offensive starters for Penn State, brought to you by Blockbuster Video. Thompson and Gash in the backfield. You will see a lot of Gary Brown and Thompson in the backfield at the same time. Golden starts at tight end, and Daniels and Smith are the wideouts. Smith perhaps the most dangerous after he catches it. Up front, Duffy, Brzezinski, Ludicky, Seaver, and McCartney. McCartney is the co-captain. Ludicky perhaps the most consistent offensive lineman. Second down, 10 balls on the ground, and Sacca gets it back for Penn State.
Oh boy, you talk about being in the right place at the right time. That ball was just knocked out with a helmet. They lose 4 yards in the play, but if Sacca's not there, boy, oh boy. Watch the hit right where the ball is. Right in there. See, he wipes it off his own man. There's the ball loose. You see Sacca heads up play there to pick it up and not lose any more yardage or lose the ball, in fact, at all.
Not sure Brown ever really had the handle. And it'll bring a third down and 13 for the Nittany Lions. Sacca rolls left, throws across his body, incomplete. It was intended for Al Golden, the tight end, and not even close. A very inauspicious start for the Nittany Lions.
Well, that's not what Penn State wanted to do. They don't need to have Tony Sacca not get that confidence to start. They needed him to complete 1 or 2 passes, get that drive 30, 40 yards.
Doug Hilkowski will get his first shot of the night. He averages 39 yards, and Terrell Buckley is deep for Florida State. Buckley now, keep an eye on him. He's dangerous. He's returned 2 of these for touchdowns this year. Pressure. Hilkowski's punt is short, but gets a Penn State bounce, and here comes Buckley. Buckley tries to give Brown to get behind the wall, and he's got it. Look out. Inside the 30. And taken down from behind at the 15-yard line by Derek Bonham.
Tim, I was about to say that Buckley made a terrible decision. He kept on giving ground, giving ground. I'll bet he gave 25 yards on that play. He had it up near midfield. He gave all the way back inside his own 30. Watch the rush here again. It's off the side of his foot. Right there was almost blocked. Now watch Buckley on the return. Look how far back he goes before he picks up that wall.
You're talking about 4-4 speed. Gave ground and did get the wall. And here comes Bonham from behind to make the touchdown-saving tackle. Penn State's won 9 in a row, including knocking off then #1 Notre Dame.
And what a contrast between Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno on the college playoff system. One says he doesn't want it, the other says, I want it.
But Joe Paterno has always wanted it. Bobby Bowden doesn't. Right now, it's Florida State out of the blocks quickly, and after that Buckley 37-yard return, Weldon tries to capitalize immediately and just throws it away. Wise decision, because he had a lot of pressure coming from Keith Kouganis.
You know, when you're an aggressive quarterback, and Weldon is that type of a quarterback, you play right on the edge of disaster. That's what their coaches say. They say, gosh, you know, if you can just curtail and kind of funnel that emotion and that gambling, you're going to be a great quarterback, and that's why he took over this program. Great ability, he gambles, and he comes through with it.
Second down and 10 from the 15. Again is play action. Weldon's got room to the 5, to the 2-yard line. Finally stopped by Darren Perry.
What a great fake action bootleg off this. He completely fooled Penn State. Right there, fake, put it on the hip. Nobody sees him, and now he's out here again putting that pressure on the cornerback. Run pass. The cornerback has to stay back. Those linemen are not going to drag him down. You can see where he gets to, down inside the 5-yard line.
First and goal at the 2. Lee is close, no signal. They'll mark it near the goal line. Goganis and Dinofrio on the tackle. It'll be second and goal. From inside the 1. Lee, left side. Touchdown Seminoles. Lee with his 19th touchdown of the year.
Well, when you talk about Lee, you have to talk about strength and speed. He's got a combination. He's not that real big, strong player. He's not that real fast, strong player, but that combination of both, he gets in the end zone.
Richie Andrews for the extra point, and it's good. And how about the Seminoles?
The line surge is really what's winning it for Florida State. They're controlling the line. You'll see Goganis come up here. He almost gets him in the backfield right there. But again, that leg strength by Lee just drags him. Look, he just drags him into the end zone. Drags 2 people.
Florida State 10, Penn State nothing. We'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. If you're just joining us, it's Florida State 10, Penn State nothing, with 8:20 remaining in the first period on Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you. And that last Florida State touchdown, 4 plays, 15 yards, took only 1:13. So Andrews will kick off to Brown and Hammonds. This will be Brown at the 3. The 15 and out to the 20-yard line. And he's stopped by a whole host of Florida State Seminoles, led by John Weich. Best wishes for a happy holiday season from all of us at Raycom Sports. First down, Penn State. And Thompson bangs his way across the left side for a tough couple. Finally stopped by James Chaney, the nose guard. Let's take a look at that starting lineup defensively. Ostazuski, Chaney, and Sanders up front for Florida State. The linebackers, Moss. He's the sack master. Jones is the sensational freshman. Carruthers, outstanding linebacker, and Dinkins on the other side. Corby and Buckley, the corners. John Weich and Fowler are the safeties. Weich gets his first start of the year. He did start 3 games last year. Second down and 7. And here's the reverse to Smith. And he's got a blocker. First down, Penn State across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Stopped by Marvin Jones.
Boy, right now, if you're Penn State, you're just looking for something to get started, Tim. They have got to get some offense. They've got to take the pressure off their defense. Their defense has been on the field all but 3 plays.
This is Brown on first down to the left side and slashes out to the 44-yard line. Weich and Freeman will get credit with the tackle there. Gary Brown has a style in which he makes tacklers miss him, almost a slashing type of sideways runner. And catch, he can block, but he's not as disciplined as some of the Penn State coaches would like at all times. Loses his concentration. Second down and call it 6. Play action for Saka. Throws to his tight end. Daniels picks it off, and Daniels is wide open to the 10, 5, touchdown Penn State. For the extra point, and it's good.
Go, Pace!
Tim, we may be able to see this mix-up on Penn State's up. Look, see, they run right together. There's the ball thrown. Daniels comes off with the ball, and he's on a jog to the end zone. Rarely do you see two receivers bump into each other. Nice vision there by Saka to pull up short, but see how the ball went right between Golden's hands, 89, into Daniels' hands.
I think it hit Golden. It doesn't matter how he got there. Daniels got there. His 5th touchdown of the year. And the Nittany Lions are on the board. I can tell you this. Once Daniels got a step on Coase, the Florida State corner, it was no contest. Daniels has 4.4 speed, and he was gone. So Fayak will be kicking off for Penn State, and Eric Terrell is deep with Shannon Baker. You know, Terrell and Baker have not really given much respect to Fayak's kicking ability today. As a matter of fact, they've been lining up on the 5 and taking the kick shallow. Again, it's a high kick. It's short, and Baker will take it at the 11. Down in 10. Weldon with time drops it underneath, has the completion. This is Bennett, and Bennett's out to the 47. Guganis makes the stop there.
Boy, it wasn't a very pretty pass, but he got there. It looked like he just kind of dumped it over. It didn't look like the spiral. Watch Bennett come out of the backfield, 22, and Weldon just dumps it over his head. See right there? Boom. And look how wide open he is. They're trying to cover those running backs with the linebackers, and that's a mismatch. There's a reaction to Weldon. Says, keep running, pick up some yardage for me.
Gain of 17 yards. Bennett, although he's the fullback, is second leading receiver on the team. That's his 36th catch. Ant Lee gains a yard. Nice play on the corner by the freshman Derek Bana. Now he's a true freshman. Probably a better cover guy than Greg Fusetti. He's the 3rd leading tackler on the team, so Derek Bana's come into this program with the Nittany Lions and made an impact. And the final seconds will tick off in the first period. Weldon on the sprint out, throws across his body, and it's complete for a Florida State. Well, it'll be close to the first down marker. Dawsey was hit by Graham and Guganis, and depending on the mark, he'll be close to a first down for the Seminoles.
That's what Dawsey does so well. He goes up in a crowd. There was a crowd there. He just goes up. He's fearless as a wide receiver in traffic.
That's the end of the first quarter, and the score: Florida State 10, Penn State nothing. Correction, 10-7. Stadium tonight, nearly 75,000 here. Tim Brandt and Dave Roll with you at the first ever Blockbuster Bowl. Florida State 10, Penn State 7, as we begin the second 15 minutes. Casey Weldon has looked so comfortable at quarterback. He's 5 for 9, 68 yards. Third down, they need 1. Bang straight ahead, and they've got it. Down Florida State.
Oh, I don't think that's not a confidence builder for the offense. It looks like just a little third down in one play. But when you win that line of scrimmage and you get that first down, that's the confidence builder when you walk back in that huddle and call the next next play.
All year, Edgar Bennett's been the third and short guy. Gets the first down here. It'll be first down, Florida State, the ball at the 41. Weldon has Dawsey. Dawsey inside the 30, to the 20. And Lawrence Dawsey down to the 12-yard line.
I know Dawsey made the great run, but that man right there, Casey Weldon, made a great read on a blitz by Penn State. He read the blitz. Watch the linebackers come. Here they come. He reads it, just dumps it over the middle to Dawsey. Once Dawsey catches it, he heads for open ground, and only a great tackle stops him from a touchdown.
Ball is marked just inside the 13. It'll be first down for the Seminoles. Play action. Weldon has the corner. Ball is tipped but completed to Reggie Johnson, his tight end.
Sometimes you'd rather be lucky than good. That ball was tipped up in the air. It's just a heads-up play. Picks, instead of a loss of about 5 yards or an incomplete, he picks up 6-7 yards.
You know, Weldon is not fast, but he did have the corner. Probably would have been safer just to tuck it away and run with it. His assets are obvious. Mobility and a strong arm. Second down and 4. Lee inside the 5. Touchdown, Florida State. Andrews adds another one. And it's 17-7. Seminoles.
Tim, we talked about Amp Lee. Watch this play when he sees the break in the line. He's scooting along. Now watch right here. Plant, turn it up, and there's the seam that he just explodes through. Good vision. We talked about that earlier. He has the vision to run along the line, see that seam develop, and just explode through it. You think they all want to get on TV? Look at him. Amp Lee says, wait a minute, I'm the one who scored.
He's the one getting beaten up by his own teammates. They knocked the water bottle out of his hand. So Andrews sets it. It's cockeyed style, and he'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds for Penn State. Long kick. It'll take Hammonds about midway back into the end zone, and he downs it on the A of State.
I don't think the team made any difference.
41 seconds remain in the half. This is Gary Brown, and all Penn State wants to do now is hold on and melt the clock. I think you're right, Dave. They just want to get into the locker room down by 10.
Well, it's shades of Notre Dame for Penn State. When they played Notre Dame, Penn State was behind at half. Notre Dame had played an excellent half. They went and regrouped and came out and played extremely well in that second half. For Florida State, it's a typical first half. Lots of scoring, lots of domination.
10 seconds remain in the half. Brown slices his way to the 24, and that'll do it. So that's the end of the first half. And our score, Florida State 17, Penn State 7. So a solid first half for Casey Weldon of Florida State. He was 11 of 19, 136 yards. He did have one interception. Amp Lee had 56 yards. He had a catch for 27, but he ran for 2 touchdowns. And Florida State leads at half by 10. Right now, let's take a look at the halftime statistics brought to you by Alamo Rent-A-Car.
Well, there's several things that'll jump right out at you. The control of the running game by Florida State, 106 yards rushing. The turnovers by Penn State, 2 costly turnovers. That blocked field goal, and of course that interception. Those were 2 missed opportunities. Look at the time of possession, Tim. 18 minutes Florida State had that ball in the first half. They have controlled the football game, and that's why they are leading 17-7.
Amp Lee, big first half. Had a 27-yard reception. He had 56 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns. And, of course, Weldon, the quarterback at Florida State, 11 of 19, 136 yards, and looked very comfortable doing it. That man right there, I think, got after his glove a little bit at the half.
Oh, boy, you'd love to have been a fly on the wall in that locker room and heard what he had to say. I can tell you he was upset.
I'm not sure I'd like to be in there. It's 17-7, Florida State. Richie Andrews preparing to kick off. He'll be kicking deep to Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds. Enough hold up. Let's get it underway. Strap it on, men. Here we go. Take Hammonds 2 yards deep. Across the 15 to the 20, and he's met there and taken down at the 21-yard line by Ken Alexander.
And I want to tell you, this is a huge start for Tony Sacca and the Penn State Nittany Lions. They need to get something going. Almost 60 of his 120 yards came on that one play. He's only completed 5 of 13.
More importantly, Penn State had 2 turnovers in that first half, 2 interceptions. So Sacca takes controls, trailing by 10. Has time, fires, complete. Gain of about 5 to Daniels.
That's another one where I thought his knee was down when he caught the ball. The official looked like he came into market and then gave him his forward progress.
The linebackers, Carruthers and Jones, got out there in a hurry.
See that Daniels has got most of the reception yard from Tony Sacca tonight.
It's exactly what Penn State needs to do, though. They come up, they get 4, puts them in a good spot for the second down now. 2nd and 6. This is Thompson. Needs a block. Gets one across the 30 to the 31. And Tommy Henry with a pretty good lick on Thompson.
And let me tell you, there was nothing there for Leroy Thompson when he made his break. That was sheer effort on his part. He's one of those determined seniors that he's going to play well. And he just burst through there at the point of attack, right where, watch where the block is made, right there. Now there's nothing right there. He just bursts through and picks up yardage, and look how determination, he just flies through the air.
First down at the 32 for Sacca and his Lions. Drills it to Ty Thomas. And Thomas has another first down. He's out to the 45-yard line.
You know, it's amazing as I watch Sacca as he moves his team. He has rises and falls. He seems to gain composure and throws a strike. Watch this play. This is just a rope. Boom, right into the pocket. Just an excellent seam pass. And now he seems to bolster his emotions up a little bit. Then he has something happen bad. He just needs that steady flow rather than the up and downs.
Audibilizes here. He's got 3 receivers to his left. Looks that way. Throws underneath to Thompson for a gain of 4.
You know, Tim, when you watch quarterbacks walk, you can tell whether they're having a good day. When they start doing well, they start to bounce a little bit. And they've got that little kick in them. They've got a little bit more confidence. Sacca seems to be starting to get that on this drive. He seems to have a lot more confidence. See, when he walks into the huddle, he's taking control in there.
Sacca's now 9 for 19, 147 yards. It does appear to be heating up. It shows blitz. 2nd down and 11. 3-step drop. Sacca fires. This is Smith. Smith has the first down and then some before Henry can knock him out of bounds, and there's a flag tacked onto that.
And maybe a face mask on that. It looked like Smith ducked underneath him and may have caught a face mask. Someone may have grabbed his face mask on the play, Tim.
Carruthers was coming from the backside on the blitz. Sacca with a 3-step drop just unloaded it.
Yeah, he read that blitz on the audible. And I think when he throws this, you'll see how quickly. It's just about 3-step drop. Boom, throw it there.
5-yard penalty against the defense. First down.
Now watch when Smith ducks underneath there. See if you don't get a face mask. Yes, there's the hand. Great picture there of the face mask. Boy, we do get great pictures from our truck.
First and 10 on the Florida State 47.
Ball marked on the Florida State 37. Again, a quick stop. The pop. And inside the 20 to the 15-yard line. Daniels taken down by Buckley.
And don't you get the feel that Tony Saka is getting a lot more confidence? Again, he reads the blitz. He picks it up quick. 3-stop drop. And he finds Daniels right on a seam play. And Daniels almost breaks it all the way.
Saka's now hit 5 of his last 6. It's first down Penn State at the 15. Saka fires. Incomplete. Intended for Daniels, and he had it for a split second, couldn't control it.
Well, I want to tell you one thing. Daniels almost made the highlight of the year catch on that play. Was stretched out across the middle, and he had it for a split second, but when he came down, the ball came out. Watch there, he is 26. Now watch him go up. He has it, doesn't get the feet down, and the ball is broken up. Watch Tony Saka's reaction. We got it, we got it. Oh, no.
On 2nd and 10, ball's loose, and Brown gets it back. So it'll bring up 3rd and 10.
Boy, another huge down. I know we continually say that, but Penn State has got to score on this drive. You just don't take the ball all the way from your own 8-yard line inside the 20 and not come away with some scoring.
Saka to the corner, fires, intended for Smith, incomplete. Smith is upset. He thought he was interfered with by Buckley.
Well, they did get their feet tangled on the play, but the official's in great position to make the call. Watch, see if they don't get their feet tangled up here. Right in there. You'll see it right there. See, he kicks his feet and down he goes. That was more incidental contact than it was actually meant as an interference by the defender.
Craig Fayak on for a 32-yard attempt. He's 0 for 1 tonight. This one is long enough that it's good. So the Nittany Lions pull within 7 with 7:32 remaining in the 3rd period. Well, Penn State has pulled within a touchdown. 7:32 remaining 3rd period. Fayak preparing to kick off to Shannon Baker and Eric Terrell. Little squib kick picked up by Fryer. Fryer's across the 40 to the 43-yard line.
I'll tell you, the first thing I question is why a kick like that? That was a terrible kick. I sure wouldn't squib kick out to the 40-yard line. I just think he topped the ball. I don't think that was an intended play. I'm
anxious to see if Blockbuster Video uses you in the highlight package. First time you'd ever been in a highlight package. First down and 10. This is Amp Lee. Dinofrio with a stop. And Jim Dieter was there to help him. Spins and gets a couple more out of it to the 47-yard line. Lawrence Dawsey now with 3 catches, 48 yards. Seminoles need 6. 3rd down, Florida State. There's pressure. Weldon escapes, throws, has the completion. This is Dawsey. Breaks free at the 35 and stumbles to the 32. Again, it was Willie Thomas, the safety, who made the saving tackle. A gain of 23.
Well, I'm telling you, Lawrence Dawsey catches in traffic better than a lot of receivers I've seen. Now, he's going to get popped on this play. Watch the safety pitch. Boom, come in there. He just concentrates, gets his feet back down, and almost breaks it all the way. You know, there's a young fellow out there, number 85, that I want to talk about in 1 minute for Penn State.
Weldon on first, underneath again to Dawsey to the 30-yard line.
Jim, 85 for Penn State's Frank Giannetti. Had a tough week this week. He's had a wonderful week here at South Florida, enjoying the festivities, but his dad had a slight heart attack on Christmas Day. And he said to tell his dad that he loves him and he'll see him real soon. He'll be back and he hopes he's enjoying the game. But tough day for Frank Giannetti to have to go through those emotions.
Playing with a heavy heart, but we understand his dad is doing well. Second down and 8 at the 30. Again, Weldon has time. This is Bennett inside the 10 to the 5-yard line.
Well, this is what Florida State loves to do. Get those backs coming out of the backfield, get them on one-on-one with the linebackers, and Weldon just throws a perfect ball to him. Well, he just goes right down the sideline. You just can't throw any better than that. That was just a perfect pass.
They are methodical. You know, it is impressive the way Florida State has come right back. Penn State scored on its opening possession second half, and Florida State now brings it right back to them. First and goal at the 5. Amp Lee, left side. Nice play by Givens to slow him up and wait for the pursuit. Remaining in the third period. It's Florida State 17, Penn State 10. Tim Brandt and Dave Rowe with you from Joe Robbie Stadium in South Florida.
There's what a beautiful day it is. Look at that. Look at the evening. Absolutely crystal clear. Had a little bit of rain, but not tonight.
Weldon has room. Touchdown, Florida State. Casey Weldon.
How many times have we said you can't lose containment on a rollout quarterback? You've got to force him to pull up. When he comes rolling out there, there's just nothing. That cornerback is just set there, doesn't know if he comes up to make the tackle, they dump it over top of your head. If he stays back, the quarterback rolls in. You just cannot lose containment.
Andrews with the extra point, and it's good.
Again, here's that pressure. No containment to the outside right there. They lose it right there. Here's the choice, run or pass. He decides to run and just skips in the end zone.
Florida State extends its lead to 24-10, and we'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store.
The hours in the stadium open tonight.
24-10, Florida State, as Richie Andrews prepares to kick off for the Seminoles. Gary Brown and Shelly Hammonds are waiting at the 5. This will take Brown way back into the end zone. He'll let it go right on through, and he'll bring it out to the 20. Florida State's drive, 7 plays, 58 yards. Took only 3 minutes and 41 seconds to come right back from the Penn State score. Casey Weldon, the story, 13 of 22, 164 yards. But now it's this man's turn. Tony Sackett, quarterback on 1st and 10 for Penn State. Goes deep, has Daniels. No good, out of bounds.
Oh boy, was that close. He just so concentrated on the ball. He actually caught the ball, but I think his leg came down out of bounds. But watch the concentration by the wide receiver on this play. Right there, he catches the ball. That's the catch. Boy, that was awfully close.
I think he might have had it.
It looked awfully close. I'll tell you, after Daniels dropped those first two, man, he hasn't dropped anything that's been thrown near him all night.
Tyson Thomas goes to the top of the screen. David Daniels to the bottom. 2nd down and 10 at the 20. This is Thompson to the 22-yard line. John Nance with the tackle. Gary Brown and Terry Smith come into the ball game for Penn State. Florida State goes to its nickel package. It's 3rd down and 8 at the 22. Seminoles go to their pass defense package. 6 defensive backs. Sack is in trouble. Escapes the tackler, gets out across the 35 to the 37-yard line. Tripped up by Carruthers. It won't be enough for the first, and Penn State will have to punt. Snapper number 70, get a look at him, is Bob Check. He was a manager. They needed a deep snapper, so now he's both the manager and the deep snapper. Gets it back this time. Kaski hits off a high punt, and this is Terrell Butler who fair catches it at the 22. It's one of the great stories in college football.
It really is. They just saw him out there snapping the ball and said, hey, he does a pretty good job.
Still holds the chains at practice.
Now he's going to run over and get some drinks for some of the guys.
He'll go in after the game, undress, and then he'll go get the dirty laundry from the rest of the players and take it to the equipment manager before he showers. He's going to take a break now, though. That's what college football is all about. See, he's tired. He knows his day doesn't end when the ball game ends. Down Florida State at the 22. Sean Jackson gets his first carry of the night, picks up 2. Leonard Humphreys on the tackle. Boy, Humphreys is extremely quick. Earlier this year, Humphreys was hurt on the sidelines. He was run into just above the knee, but he's back. He's playing well, having a big game here tonight. Final seconds taken away from the 3rd period. And that'll do it. 24-10, Florida State. We'll be back after these messages from your local station. This is the Raycom Sports and Entertainment Network.
Well, first of all, the Penn State must, Tim, they had to control the blitz. They've done that fairly well. Wrap up the receivers. They have been very fortunate because after Florida State has caught the ball, they've picked up good yardage but haven't been able to score. The other one is have outstanding the special teams play, and they have not had that.
Now, Florida State has had pretty much its way.
Oh, they have. They really have. In order for Penn State to get back in this football game, they have to sustain a drive. They have to score. Then they have to kick deep, Florida State deep, hold them, and get the ball back again. If they're able to hold them in this situation, that would really help them because they'll get great field position. But every time Florida State's needed to drive the ball out, they've done it.
The final 15 minutes, 2nd down and 8. This is Amp Lee, and he's in trouble. Amp Lee loses yardage. Rich McKenzie with an outstanding defensive play would not give up his outside leverage and made the tackle.
Well, that's quite a stretch. Down the stretch, 9-1 when they're leading after the 3rd quarter, and they've got a 14-point lead. So that's got to put a little grin on Bobby Bowden's face.
Lee breaks it big, pops it out of there to the 37-yard line.
Tim, let's give credit where credit is due. That offensive line is opening the holes for Amp Lee tonight. He just burst through a seam. They split him out a little bit. Watch the seam. Lee sees the hole, just jumps through right there, gets those feet down quick, and he bursts through for a huge gain. And boy, hasn't Florida State, every time
say it's not the voltage that matters, it's the amps. Gain of 17. Here they just bang it ahead.
Well, maybe we ought to keep an amp meter going today. I know he's got a lot of yards.
You know, his real name is Antoine. He was little, his brothers and sisters couldn't say it, so now they just call him Amp. He's a player. 19 carries, 88 yards.
You know, another thing, he hasn't fumbled. That's an amazing statistic. When you carry the ball 150 times and you don't fumble, that's amazing.
None of them have.
I know, that's
unbelievable. Haven't fumbled all year.
I asked the coach, I said, you practice that or what? He said, well, one of our coaches tries to rip the balls out, but we just do not fumble the football away.
Second down and 7. Lee in a whole lot of trouble here. Nowhere to run. Loses yardage. Outstanding play that time by the cornerback, Leonard Humphreys, who came up to make the tackle.
There's the super soft Amp Lee. That's what he's done. Florida State record book. Look at that. He's just a sophomore. He has really had just a tremendous year.
He's a great lane changer, too, when he runs. You know, in high school, I told you he ran for over 4,000 yards, scored 68 touchdowns in 3 years. He averaged 7 yards a carry. How does that translate into college ball? He scored 2 touchdowns the first 3 times he touched the ball for Florida State. Third down and 11 for Weldon. Throws, complete. Not enough for the first down. Dave Roberts stretched his body out to the 42-yard line after the catch. The Seminoles will have to punt. Scotty McLaren will do the punting this time, not Wimberley. Watch the fake. Clock melt all the way down to 5. Here's the snap and the punt. It's a wobbly punt. Thomas will take it at the 22. He's got a hold. And out to the 38-yard line. Yard punt, 16-yard return. We'll be back after these messages from Blockbuster Video, America's family video store. Penn State comes in with a new quarterback. It's Tom Bill, the senior from Flemington, New Jersey. Now, he hasn't played much in his final season, but he prepared flawlessly and pushed his teammates throughout the year. 15 of 26, 1 touchdown, no interceptions. This is Tom Bill. Throws over the middle. This is Daniels. Daniels to the 44-yard line, stretches out to the 40. There is no comeback player of the year award in college football, but if there was, Tom Bill, I think, would win it. He missed the spring semester, missed all of spring practice to address some well-documented personal problems. He had a problem with alcohol. He addressed it. He spoke about it openly, rehabilitated himself, and he's back.
He's a very inspirational player, and that's why he's in there, to try and inspire this offensive unit and get them scoring.
First down, State at the 40. Thompson breaks to the outside and stretches down to the 36-yard line. 24-10, Florida State, 6:54 remaining in the ball game.
Tim, the first thing you question, you say, well, why does the offense move better when you bring that quarterback change in there? It's everybody just digs a little bit deeper. They don't want to let that quarterback down. He comes in there, it's just a change. Things start to go, and all of a sudden you find yourself being able to drive the football where before you were unable to.
On 2nd and 7, Bill looks deep, goes to Smith. He's got it. Touchdown, Penn State. Extra point, and it's 24-17.
this is just exceptional delivery on the play. Again, great protection. He throws the ball up, but watch the concentration. The defender flashes in front of him, turns him all the way around, and he comes down with the football. Terry Smith, great concentration on the play.
Look to see if Tommy Henry, the cornerback, doesn't jump too early. Mistime his jump.
But watch the way Smith turns all the way around to get the football. What great concentration.
And then the effort to get to the end zone. 6:27 remaining in the ball game. 24-17 our score. A record crowd at Joe Robbie Stadium for sold tickets. More than 74,000 here for the inaugural Blockbuster Bowl. What a job by Tom Bill.
Boy, oh boy, I'll tell you one thing. You always wonder why a team, like I said, responds, but Bill's an excellent quarterback. Didn't have a whole lot of pressure, but like you said, all year long has prepared as the backup, and tonight he gets the chance to show his talent.
6:27 remaining in the ball game. This is Eric Terrell to the 24-yard line. Now, Penn State's defense has been outstanding in the second half.
I saw that fourth quarter statistic. That showed what Penn State does in the fourth quarter.
It's time to batten down the hatches now. First down and 10. The ball on the 24. Weldon with time fires and delivers it on the money between the numbers 2 and 9 to Lawrence Dawsey.
I had dinner with Lawrence Dawsey a couple weeks ago. I was down here to speak on FSU's campus, and I said, "How'd you get so fast?" He said, "Well, I'm number 10 out of 11 children from back in Dothan, Alabama." So he said, "You learn to be fast when you're number 10 out of 11. He is a speedster.
Weldon wants to throw on first. Goes deep. And Shannon Baker has another first down for the Seminoles.
And there goes Florida State again. Deep in their own territory. They've got to drive the ball out. Weldon just throwing just pinpoint passes. Look at this pass. Over the short zone. Drops it right in before the deep zone. Just excellent. Boy, that's some statistics. Look at that. 21 to 29. For almost 250 yards.
Weldon on the screen, incomplete. It's a good thing it was incomplete. Gaines was right there. It'll bring up second down and 10. 5:16 remaining in the ball game. The war chant coming out of Joe Robbie Stadium. The Seminoles lead by a touchdown. Dangerous pass by Weldon. And Givens is kicking himself, thinking he had a chance.
That's exactly what is right. He is kicking himself. Had he not tripped, he had a chance to get that ball. That was an all-out blitz by Penn State, something you don't see very often from a Penn State team. All-out blitz. They rushed 7 or 8 players on that.
It'll bring up third down and 10. At the 42. Weldon fires toward Dawsey, incomplete. Led him too much out of bounds. And the Seminoles will have to punt. So Penn State's defense did its job.
They have done it very well in the second half. They've been able to stop just an outstanding Florida State offense. Now it's up to Tom Bill and company.
Now Scotty McLaren comes back into the ball game as the punter. State. A high spiraling punt that will hit at the 2 and go into the end zone for a touchback. So they'll bring it out to the 20, and that's where Penn State will have it, first down, with 4:56 remaining in the ball game, and the Nittany Lions trailing by 7. Remaining in the ball game. It's Florida State 24, Penn State 17. First down, the ball at the 20 for the Nittany Lions. Tom Bill, the quarterback, fires towards Smith, has the completion at the 45-yard line.
You know, Jim, we got a great letter this past week from a fighter pilot over Vietnam 23 years ago. He tuned in and heard Florida State, Penn State in a tie. He may hear the same thing tonight as he sits in Dallas, Texas. Because watch Tom Bill as he electrified this Penn State offense. He drops it in there. They're out to midfield. A lot of pressure on Joe Paterno. If they score, are they going to go for 2? Will they go for 1? Oh, boy.
Daniels comes way down to the bottom of the screen on first down. Gary Brown, left side, gains 4. This is not new for Tom Bill. When Saka struggled at Alabama, Bill got the call and responded by taking the Nittany Lions on 2 second-half marches that resulted in fag field goals. He was 4 for 9 for 51 yards against the Tide. They added 20 more yards running. He's had a couple of saves in his career. It'll be second down and 6. Tom Bill is your quarterback. Under pressure, fires. Incomplete, no call. Should have been pass interference. Joe Paterno wanted it and should have gotten it. But they're going to say the ball was not catchable. No flag. That is the first incomplete pass, Dave, for Tom Bill.
And he might have had a call on this. You see the pass thrown right there. He gets interfered with there. Referee ruled it no catch. Not a catchable ball, as you said. Huge third down for Penn State. Huge third down for Bobby Bowden's Florida State team.
Penn State needs 6. It's third down. Flags fly. Bill throws. Incomplete. But again, there is a flag.
Illegal motion against Penn State. They decline it. It'll bring up fourth down. It's fourth down and 5. Do you gamble now? You're Joe Paterno. You've got 4 minutes left.
Illegal motion on the offense is declined, fourth down.
I think what you do is you punt it deep, try to hold them, get better field position. Utilize your timeouts. If you don't make the first down, you're dead in the water. You give the ball to Florida State at midfield.
There was also 4:03 remaining. Tons of time. So Doug Hokowski comes on to punt. And Florida State has nobody deep. High punt that hits at the 10. Takes a Florida State bounce, so they down it right there. A 41-yard punt. Joe Paterno on the left, Bobby Bowden on the right. Paterno's 64 years of age, Bobby Bowden 61. Outstanding coaches. 3:53 remaining in the ball game. First down, Weldon throws incomplete. Well designed, poorly executed.
And, buddy, I can tell you what they're saying in the Penn State huddle right now. Everybody dig a little bit deeper. Everybody come up with that little bit more effort to hold Florida State here. In the Florida State huddle, what they're saying is no mistakes, no holds, no interception. Don't try to gamble with that ball, Casey Weldon. Just be sure when you throw it. Everybody hold on tight and don't fumble.
Bobby Bowden tells a story about how he took a train that hitchhiked to State College 28 years ago as a young assistant just to talk with Rip Angle and Joe Paterno about the wing T formation. The game has changed, but the coaches haven't. They're still searching for new ways to win. Amp Lee hit immediately by Keith Godanis. And Penn State takes a timeout with 3:36 left in the ball game. So now Penn State will have one timeout remaining. Florida State will have 3.
What Penn State has to do is stop Weldon on that rollout. He's been so effective on that rollout, putting the pressure on the cornerback. They've got to get upfield, turn him inside, force him to pass the ball in the pocket, not put that pressure on the outside.
Third and 13 at the 8. Split backfield. Weldon in his own end zone, looks deep, throws in the direction of Amp Lee, overthrown. The Penn State defense has held again. It'll be Scotty McLaren who comes on to punt. Now Florida State is using John Wimberly and Scotty McLaren tonight. McLaren will be standing deep in his own end zone.
Well, both States going to get great field position, Tim.
It's a wobbly kick. Thomas takes it at the 40. Needs a block. Gets one from Smith. Down to the 31-yard line. Tackle made there by Lonnie Johnson. This is Florida State's 9th straight bowl appearance with no losses. They're 7-0-1. Their last loss was 1981, the Orange Bowl to Oklahoma. They lost 18-17. They're trying to hold on here. First down, Penn State at the 31. Pressure on Bill, throws incomplete.
There's Penn State's last 5 possessions, but none of them count other than this one right here.
It's second down and 10 at the 31. Bill, pressure, fires, has the ball dropped by Smith. Should have had it.
Oh boy, should have had it and had a huge open field in front of him. If he comes down with that football, I think that was the classic looking before you catch it, because he had a huge opening in front of him. Watch, he's going to come from the right of your screen. Bill reads the blitz. There he is right there. Now look right. Look at the people out in front of him.
That's a touchdown.
Oh boy.
Third down and 10. Tom Bill nowhere to run and won't get it. Leon Fowler, the free safety, was right with him.
Boy, credit that front of Florida State, not falling for that quarterback blitz. Bill hoping that everybody was going to be deep in coverage on a prevent, and he was going to slide right up through it, but they closed it quick, forced them wide, and it's 4th down. They have a huge play to make here.
So the quarterback draw is unsuccessful with 3:03 remaining in the ball game. 4th down and 8. Remember now, Penn State has only one timeout left. Florida State with a blitz. Bill in trouble. Throws it up. Intercepted. And they'll down it. John Davis with the interception.
Tim, Tom Bill had no place to throw that ball except up. It was the only hope that he had. Now, they may have ruled him down on the 1-yard line and carrying it back in the end zone.
If they did, it's huge.
Because there's still almost 3 minutes left. I think Penn State has one timeout left.
Take another look, see if his momentum carried him in.
Okay, where does he catch it? Right there. Oh, boy, I don't know about that.
He was still bobbling.
Well,
Penn State gets a huge break. They put it on the 1. Should have been a touchback. No question in my mind, his momentum carried him in. He was even still bobbling it as he crossed the goal line. Nonetheless, the ball is at the 1. Florida State bangs it out across the 5 to the 6. Boy, when they need tough yardage, they always go to Edgar Bennett. They got 5 there.
when you start doing the mathematics of if they get a first down, they've got 2:43. Penn State is now out of timeouts. If they get a first down, they'll be able to just about run the clock out.
The ball is on the 6-yard line. It will be 2nd down and 5. Penn State out of timeouts. The give straight ahead. Bennett, absolutely nothing. Willie Thomas, the safety, and Keith Gaines, the linebacker, came up and made the hit immediately. So it'll bring up 3rd down, and they'll call it 3. Clock continues to move at 2:20.
I'm not sure if they have to get a play off before the 2-minute warning or not. They're almost in sync.
Dawsey, the lone receiver, bottom of the screen. Bennett out of the backfield has the completion and the first down. Oh, what a big play for Edgar Bennett and Casey Weldon.
Boy, does that make it huge to pick up that first down. Now they're going to be under 2 minutes.
That'll just about do it. Leonard Humphreys is down and struggling to get up.
Nice fake here by Weldon under pressure. And as you said, Bennett coming out of the backfield picks up the first down. Gives them 4 more downs to run that clock right down to nothing.
Well, the folks from Florida are dancing tonight. It's been a successful inauguration for the Blockbuster Bowl. I think Bobby Bowden and Joe Paterno lent this bowl instant credibility.
Absolutely.
First down, Florida State. Edgar Bennett gets a yard. Clock moves. Dinofrio on the tackle, under 1:30 now.
And Penn State can't stop it. They'll get this play off. The quarterback will look up at the 25-second clock. And when he snaps that ball at 1 or 2, there'll be a minute left in this football game.
It's already down to 15. You do not want to get a delay of game penalty here. Down to 7. 2. He uses every bit of it.
Snapped it right on 1.
Under a minute to play. And the streak is intact. 9 straight bowl appearances for Florida State without a loss. They'll go to 8-0-1 in the postseason. Last loss was in 1981 against Oklahoma when they lost by a point.
And Bobby Bowden's going to get his first win against Joe Paterno. When he had coached at West Virginia, he lost 6 times as a head coach, I think 3 or 4 times as an assistant coach. And he's going to get his first victory tonight over Joe Paterno.
The final 15 seconds tick down. That'll be the last play. And the teams will meet at the center of the field. Paterno and Bobby Bowden, two of the most successful coaches in the college game, both over 200 wins apiece. They may not be in a class of their own, but where they are, it doesn't take long to call roll.
I can promise you that. There's not many up there with them.
The only disappointing thing is we didn't see Bobby Bowden with any of his trick plays. Final score, Florida State 24, Penn State 17.